All right. So today we're going to start the next section about the Enlightenment. And let's rewind again. Let's contextualize. Let's look at some background information. We remember that um, around 1400, we start to see a huge change in Europe. Okay, Europe, of course, had these great empires for 1,000 years, the Greeks and the Romans, and then they have this 1,000 years of the medieval period or the Dark Ages, where there's very little achievement. It's a very difficult time to be alive in Europe. And then the Renaissance comes around the 1400s, and we start to see massive changes in um, the way people saw themselves, the way that people saw humans, the way people saw the world. There were huge changes in education, in art. The Reformation brought change to the church, which seemed impossible before this moment. Um, the Age of Exploration showed that there was places, new worlds outside of Europe that no one knew about. It brought economic success to Europe. The Scientific Revolution, changes in science. And a group of people in France start to come up with these ideas, and they say, hey, maybe we can change government. We changed education and art, we changed religion, we changed the maps and our knowledge of the world. We changed science with the understanding of the planets and medicine. Maybe we can also change governments, because the way the governments were set up at that point, many people thought were very unfair. This was a time when kings had absolute power, and these philosophers, or philosophes as they're known, decided that they were going to get together in Paris and other places throughout France and Europe, and they would discuss ideas of how a perfect government would work. Um, so we're going to find that a lot of these ideas can be traced back to the scientific revolution, to some of the ideas of Sir Isaac Newton, and a man named John Locke. And John Locke writes a book in the 1690s, and he says something about all humans being born with natural rights. And he says, among these rights are life, liberty, and the protection of property. And that it's the government's job to guarantee those three things to people. So now, for the first time, since maybe the era of the Greeks and the Romans in Europe, people are starting to talk about, it's not us working for the government, us working for the king telling us what to do for his or her benefit, but instead, the government should be working for me. It's a total change in the way people saw the role of government. John Locke was an Englishman, and in 1690, England comes up with a Bill of Rights. These are rights that all people should have in the country of England. Now, of course, this applied mostly to land-owning males, but eventually we would see these ideas trickle down to everyone. So, due to John Locke, we're going to find that many ideas about government are started in France, are spread in France. Americans come to France, to early American colonists, to study these ideas. And eventually we'll find that these ideas are used in our government of our country. So again, why are we studying all this? Well, we're tracing where the ideas for our government came from. And it all started during this period that we call the Enlightenment.